Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hey, Roberters.
Roberta.
Bertolino, you were a little delayed this morning. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys aren't delayed and you made it here for these updates. Thank you for taking a break from the Brooks trial. I appreciate it. I know that it's captivating. We've all been captivated, I think, by this madness. So welcome to your lunch break from the Daryl Brooks trial. Hey, Potato and Angie B. And Heather J. My HJ is in the house moderating this morning. And so is Mike Sanner. He's here somewhere. I saw him in the very beginning. Where'd you go, Sanner? Uh-oh. I think Sanner might be in the bathroom or something. Just kidding, Mike. Just kidding, Mike. You know that's your sound bite.
Okay.
Painting Services by Steve is coming in hot with the first super chat of the day. Thank you, Steve. Yay, it's Jay. Let's get this started off right. Good morning, young lady. Like, duh. What a way to get it started out. Thank you so much, Steve. All right.
it's we have to stand down.
Oh my gosh, with the ews. Ew, Jay, that's so gross. But you know you laughed. Hello, Shell. Hello, Yaz daughter. Welcome, welcome, everyone. All right, let's get into our first update. First, you guys, we're going to vote on the kitty names. So our first poll you guys are here for. Hopefully we'll break 100 so we can get 100 votes at least. And you're going to vote. We're going to do the first elimination of the kitty names. So it's going to be Indy versus Hope today. And you can pick a name. So let's do this right now. Let's get this up. And we're going to eliminate in each live stream. All right. So you guys get to vote now. All right. So name that kitty. That is our first poll. Go ahead and get your vote in. And the winner after this one will verse Emmy. So the winner, either Hope or Indy, will verse Emmy. So that will be the next poll. I know it's difficult. It was hard for me to choose. It was really hard for me to choose. So I think also the members, get your birthdays in to J for J, number 4J, birthday shiz. This is for members. Email your birthday and your YouTube name. As every month, we're going to do a drawing, and one of you members will get a personal gift from me for your birthday. So make sure that if you're a member, you've got your birthdays in. So you're included. We're going to start that in November. So you're picking the one that you want. Pick the one that you want. Pick the one that you like out of the two, I guess. I know, they're all cute. They're all adorable. So it's really hard to choose. Hello, Miss Cher. Miss Cher is in the house. I have been so out of touch with everybody. I hope you're doing good. I hope you and the Mista. I had my beard mug yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day before. The beard of reason. All right, let's get into our first update, you guys. We're going to cover Harmony Montgomery first. How many of you have followed the Harmony Montgomery case since they found out that she even existed and was missing? So we finally have murder charges on Dad Adam. We know that Adam was arrested for smacking her. But now he has been charged with second-degree murder of poor little Harmony. So let's go to that update. We are going to do, I have some thoughts on this Quinton's mom and Billie Joe and all this. I've got some thoughts on that little interview they did. So we're going to go over that last. So right now, let's watch this. This isn't very long, but this is the New Hampshire Attorney General and the Manchester, New Hampshire Police giving an update on the Harmony Montgomery investigation. But what I'm wondering, and maybe you guys, we can talk about this after, is how they know all of these details. Like, who told them? Do we think that Kayla, the ex, since she's in jail, that she's helping? I don't know. You guys let me know. Let's go ahead and go to our trusty TV and let's watch this presser. Again, thanks for being here, you guys.
Good afternoon. I'm New Hampshire Attorney General John Formella, and I'm joined here today by Manchester Police Chief Alan Aldenberg and the team from the Manchester Police Department and members of my office. We're here today to provide a further update regarding the ongoing investigation into the 2019 murder of Harmony Montgomery. As you'll recall, back in January, we announced that 5-year-old Harmony likely disappeared sometime between November 28th and December 10th of 2019. In August of this year, after almost 8 months of investigative work undertaken by the Manchester Police Department, the Attorney General's Office, the U.S. Marshals Service, the FBI, and other law enforcement partners, we announced that we had concluded that 5-year-old Harmony was murdered in Manchester in early December of 2019. This conclusion was based on multiple sources of investigative information, including biological evidence.
Ooh.
Since August, the Manchester Police Department, the Attorney General's Office, and our other law enforcement partners have continued to investigate this case in an effort to seek answers and justice for Harmony. Today, we are announcing another major step in this investigation. Earlier this morning, Adam Montgomery was arrested for the murder of Harmony Montgomery in 2019 and other related charges. Specifically, Mr. Montgomery has been charged with the following 4 crimes. Second-degree murder for recklessly causing the death of Harmony Montgomery, a person under 13 years of age, under circumstances manifesting an extreme indifference to the value of human life, by repeatedly striking Harmony in the head with a closed fist.
Oh my
in
God.
Manchester on or about December 7, 2019.
They have an exact date.
Falsifying physical evidence for purposely altering, destroying, concealing, or removing the body of Harmony Montgomery with a purpose to impair its verity or availability in an official proceeding or investigation in Manchester between approximately December 7th, 2019 and March.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to stop here because I'm hearing all kinds of things. Okay, so first he said they found biological evidence. So I wonder if that was the refrigerator, something in that refrigerator. And then they have an exact date that they're saying that, good God, that he hit her with a closed fist in the head, causing death. And then another charge is where he says altering or removing her body and its verity. So what do we think he did? Do we think that that they're going to be able to even find her? Oh, I feel sick. Yeah, so Kayla must have snitched because they have an exact date of December 7th, 2019 for the death of little Harmony. Hmm.
2020.
Okay, wait.
Abuse of corpse.
Wait, let's see what date he has, because he has 2020 for the corpse thing, but she died December 7th, 2019, he said. So let's go back, get these facts.
For purposely altering, destroying, concealing, or removing the body of Harmony Montgomery with a purpose to impair its verity or availability in an official proceeding or investigation in Manchester between approximately December 7th, 2019 and March 4th, 2020. Abuse of corpse for purposely and unlawfully removing, concealing, or destroying the corpse of Harmony Montgomery or any part thereof in Manchester between approximately December 7th, 2019 and March 4th, 2020. And tampering with witnesses or informants for purposely attempting to induce or otherwise cause Kayla Montgomery to
here we go.
testify or inform falsely in Manchester between approximately December 7th, 2019 and January 4th, 2022. Mr. Montgomery is expected to be arraigned on these charges in Hillsborough County Superior Court, Northern District in Manchester tomorrow, October 25th, 2022.
That's today.
While today's arrest is a major step in this investigation, there is much work to come. The charges and allegations against Adam Montgomery are merely accusations, and he is presumed innocent until proven guilty. That said, today I do want to again express my deepest sympathies to Harmony's family, friends, and loved ones. We understand that today's news, while significant for purposes of this investigation, is yet another difficult moment for those who loved Harmony and those who have followed this case. Our hearts go out especially to Harmony's family. My office will continue to provide whatever assistance we can through our Office of Victim Witness Assistance as they deal with these difficult moments. In a moment, I'm going to turn it over to Manchester Police Chief Alan Aldenberg, but once again, before I do, I want to extend my sincere thanks to the Chief and the entire team at the Manchester Police Department for the time and dedication and professionalism that they've put into this case and their relentless pursuit for justice on behalf of Harmony and those who knew and loved her. Chief.
So sad. Oh, Spitfire, prayers for the kitty.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, guys, this,
I'm Alan Aldenberg, the Chief of
I
Police.
saw parts of this, and this guy gets choked up.
Manchester Police Department. This morning, at approximately 10:30 a.m., Adam Montgomery was transported to the Manchester Police Department. He was booked in on the charges of second-degree murder, falsifying physical evidence, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with a witness. The booking process was completed without incident, and he was then transported back to the Hillsborough County House of Correction. Although we are all pleased that we were able to bring forth these charges, they are of no solace to myself, the detectives behind me, who have worked tirelessly on this investigation, and more importantly, they bring no solace to the loved ones of Harmony Montgomery and her family and friends. Again, I want to take a moment to publicly thank the detectives and the New Hampshire Attorney General's Office for their unwavering commitment and devotion to this investigation. Specifically behind me, in no particular order, Captain Sean Layton, Captain Matt LaRochelle, Detective Jack Dunleavy, Detective Scott Riley, Detective Max Rayhill, Deputy U.S. Marshal Billy Tufts, a couple more in the back of the room, Lieutenant Georgioulis, Detective Davenport, and Detective Coswick as well. Many, many people have sought justice for Harmony, and they are unmatched in their tenacity and their professionalism. Every single one of you has been the voice of Harmony in seeking justice for her.
This is
Said I wasn't gonna do
difficult.
it. Has been your single motivation and #1 priority for the past 10 months. I also want to thank your families who've also had to endure the long hours, missed family events, and all the sadness that this investigation has brought. As I had before, I want to personally acknowledge Senior Assistant Attorney General Jesse O'Neill and Benegatti. These two gentlemen are steady, professional, compassionate, and the ultimate pursuers of justice for Harmony. I'm certain that the charges that we have brought forward today will garner additional discussion, speculation, and undoubtedly will elicit a wide range of emotions from the public. I ask that in the memory of Harmony, that we all make every effort to do something nice for a child today. I know of no other way. I know of no other way to respect and honor this innocent and defenseless child than to extend an act of kindness to another child in her memory.
I like this, Chief.
Just take a few moments out of your day to say something nice to a child. Give him or her a hug, some special words of encouragement. Give them an extra hug, or just simply tell them that you love them and that you'll always protect them. I want to emphasize that our work is not finished, and that the gentleman with me today will not stop until this case is brought the appropriate resolution. As always, I encourage members of the public to continue to use the dedicated tip line should they have any information at all that would assist us in the investigation. Again, that dedicated tip line is 603-203-6060. I'll say it again. That number is 603-203-6060, and that phone line is manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Again, thank you all for being here today. I will now hand it back to the Attorney General for some closing comments. General.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you again to you and your team for all of the work that you put into this case and for the work yet to come. We have a lot of work ahead, but we will continue our work to seek justice for Harmony and all those who loved her. Before I close, I do want to acknowledge the work of our team at the Attorney General's office, especially Senior Assistant Attorney General Jesse O'Neill, who's been on this case from the beginning, and Senior Assistant Attorney General and Homicide Unit Chief Benegatti. Both have worked closely and tirelessly with Chief Aldenberg and the Manchester Police Department in this investigation. And again, there is much more work to come. As to any further specifics or questions about the nature of evidence in this case, due to the fact that we now have pending charges against Mr. Montgomery, we're unable to make further comments at this time. Additional information will be made available through court filings and in court proceedings as the case moves forward. Thank you for your time.
Well, I think that was very thorough. Like, we got as much as, they could probably give us right now. But I want to make note of what he said about the body, getting rid of the body and stuff like that. He said between December 7th and March 4th of 2020 was when he did something with her, with Harmony. And then between December 7th and January the 4th was when he told Kayla he wanted her to lie or got her to lie about something. So I'm thinking she knows the exact date that Harmony was killed, but she doesn't remember what date he did that with the body, possibly. But that's like a 3-month time. So how long was she in that refrigerator? And that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking the deal was. So sad. Sick. Oh, on another note, though, I wanted to tell you guys too, the Next Star lawsuit that's against me is still out there. It's pending, and they're trying to get a default judgment, and they've brought the dollar amount that they want from $2 million to $70,000. So they filed that, and it's been sitting for roughly 2 months. The judge hasn't ruled on it. I don't know why. I have no way of knowing. But a funny thing happened this morning. I got a copyright in my email. And I was like, what? And it said, so-and-so, someone has, made a copyright claim, which doesn't mean I get a strike. It just means they make any royalties off that video. So I'm like, I go to it and it's a short. Number one, I don't make any money off shorts. I make $0 on shorts. And I put a short up of Quinton's. It was the bar, when they went to the bar. And they struck me for that. Yeah, it's still sitting, April C. The stepmother, Kayla, she's being charged with, I think, welfare fraud. I don't know what else, but yeah. So I was like, okay, you're going to strike a 20-second thing. It was the Leilani and Billie Joe go to the bar short. I'm like, okay. So perfect timing, Streamlabs. Please subscribe to the empowerment channel, the Justice and Empowerment. That is going to be where I stream things like court stuff, because they're manually watching me. You want to put eyes in chat? Now's the time, because they're manually watching me. So that's what I'm going to do. In the next big case, we're going to be streaming that over there. And I don't know, like every case that I'm planning on doing either gets postponed or, Ethan pled guilty yesterday, which was quite shocking. Which brings us to our next update. This is here in Tampa. Yes, I said Tampa.
Tampa.
Oh, Next Star Media. Well, some of those shall be true are automatic bots. So if you see where it says manually, they'll either say that they've manually detected it or automatically. And when it's manually, it means that they actually sought it out. They had to pick the timestamps of their actual, where they think you're copywriting them. It is someone sitting there. Next Star Media, Minnie Ann. A multi-billion-dollar corporation who owns 65% of the media in our country. So it's corporation versus Jays for Justice podcast. Crazy shiz.
That's how it played out.
Okay, so let's get into our next case update.
Tampa.
In Tampa. And this is nothing to joke about. 8 women were rescued from sex work. They were trafficked into our country and then made to be prostitutes to pay off the $60,000 to get them here in the first place. It's appalling. But down here in Florida, at least, I know we're catching these motherfuckers every week, at least. I'm hearing about it at least every week.
Smuggled from Cuba.
These ones are from Cuba.
Across the southern border with Mexico, and was now obligated to pay her smugglers for the illegal entry into the United States. The tip further explained that the traffickers made threats against the women and her family, and that if her debt was not immediately repaid, she would be forced to work in the sex trade until her financial obligation was satisfied. The tip also indicated there were several other women that were trapped in this horrific situation. Our detectives quickly acted on this lead by setting up a surveillance operation, which confirmed these disgusting allegations, and that these women desperately needed our help. Our investigation uncovered that these 8 women ages range from 18 to 24. They were first forced to work in various adult entertainment clubs in Hillsborough and Pinellas County, and that they were never allowed to leave the home without an escort. All of the trapped women were working as prostitutes, strippers, and forced to perform other acts other types of sex acts to pay off their debt of $60,000 each, which was what the smuggling cost was to enter the United States. To elicit even more fear and intimidation, the traffickers would threaten the women and their families at gunpoint. Knowing the details and plight of these women, we acted immediately to free them from this forced servitude. Last Thursday night, we followed 7 of the victims who were being escorted by one of their traffickers to the International Plaza, which is where undercover detectives made contact and facilitated their rescue. Simultaneously,
Get 'em, boys.
we obtained a court-authorized search warrant for 2 properties where these victims were being held, and where we also recovered the 8th victim. During this investigation, 2 of the individuals responsible for the trafficking and tormenting of these women were arrested. 35-year-old Ahmet Ramon Maquiera de la Cal and 29-year-old Rosalia Leonard Garcia. This couple is behind bars as we speak, with each facing 47 charges that include human trafficking, human smuggling, false imprisonment, and RICO for their organized crime activities. The conditions these women were living in only reinforced that they had no way out. These victims were forced to stay 5 women to 1 room in bunk beds. The remaining 3 victims also had to share a room. They had no light in their bedrooms and all had to share a single bathroom, while the traffickers shared the master bedroom and never had to share a restroom with anyone.
In the name of Jesus, Father God,
The
Lord.
women not only had to hand over all of their earnings to their captors, they also had to pay for food, rent, and even the gas their trafficker used to take them to their so-called dates. We located evidence indicating how much each woman owed and how much they brought in with their sex acts, as well as cash, condoms, a stolen firearm, and the victims' identifications. Quite simply, these women who fled the repressive government of Cuba in search for a better life were now forced to be sex slaves. They were not free to leave. They were repeatedly threatened with violence if they did not work in the sex trade or ever attempted to flee. The traffickers held their identifications, cell phones, and personal documents as ransom. The traffickers gave them a new cell phone, which they monitored, and even their families were terrorized to ensure absolute and total control. This organized criminal enterprise was nothing short of modern-day slavery. I have no doubt that if our human trafficking investigators had not acted as quickly as they did, this situation would have continued, expanded, and could have ended up with one of these victims losing their life at the hands of these traffickers, who only cared about profiting off these women. All 8 women received medical care and are currently connected with safe housing and other services, thanks to the partnership we share with Sail of Freedom, a truly great organization who works every day to support victims
We've
of
seen
human
these
trafficking,
ladies with Judd.
stopping those who prey on the innocent and vulnerabilities of others, and rescuing victims from the grasp of human trafficking is a priority mission of mine, which is why we have a group of investigators dedicated to eradicating human trafficking. I am so proud of these men and women who every day work tirelessly to identify and arrest traffickers, those who prey on our children, and free victims while providing the resources they need to rebuild their shattered lives. Here in Tampa Bay, we will never tolerate any form of slavery. To all the undercover detectives here today, thank you. Thank you for protecting our community. You are saving lives. I would now like to introduce someone who, without a doubt, has limitless passion and energy to rescue victims and put traffickers behind bars where they belong, and whose Office of Statewide Prosecution will now ensure that these heartless individuals who preyed on these 8 women will face the most severe consequences and never have the opportunity to ever victimize another human being. Our top cop, keeping our Florida community safe, our Florida Attorney General, Ashley Moody. General?
Here's Ashley. We heard her
Thank
before.
you, Sheriff, and thank you for those who are with us bright and early this morning to highlight an incredibly tragic case, recognize the amazing efforts of the human trafficking squad here in Hillsborough County, and to help us again inform the public that human trafficking does take place in our communities right here in Florida. And we are constantly reaching out, trying to engage the public to make them aware of that and educate them on how to inform us if they suspect that this is going on. This is one of the worst trafficking cases that I have seen. It hits on every element when we are training law enforcement and prosecutors across the state on what to look for in one of these cases, whether it's using a weapon to threaten violence, whether it's threatening the violence of their close loved ones, threatening to kill their family members if they did not cooperate, separating them from the public by not allowing them to go outside of the place they're residing without someone accompanying them, taking away their identification documents, not letting them have any contact except by phones in which the traffickers control. The list goes on and on and on. I commend this sheriff, Sheriff Chronister, for having the foresight and being willing to put together a specific unit trained in human trafficking. It is a unique type of case and prosecution in which the nuances must be explained and educated to the officers before they get the call. Because one of the most important ways that we can successfully put these traffickers behind bars is cooperation from and participation from the victims. And in this case, I am extraordinarily proud of the brave, courageous 8 women who lived through hell for months, not knowing if they would ever be able to get out of that situation. These horrific acts of sex trafficking are a direct result of the crisis we are experiencing at the border. And you've heard me time and time again talk about fentanyl and how we intercepted enough at the border to kill the whole U.S. population in 1 month.
It all goes hand in hand.
Or the fact that the lax border and the incentivized policies creating this surge, it's like throwing fuel on trafficking cases, on smuggling cases, on drug charges. Today's announcement and today's case and the rescue of these 8 women is a direct result of this chaotic open border. I've been saying for months, this is the way it manifests itself in what is a non-traditional border state. Every state has become a border state because we are struggling to keep pace with what is happening as a result of the border. Because make no mistake, these depraved individuals, these sex traffickers, took advantage of the open border in order to complete these crimes. Our statewide prosecutors will aggressively prosecute these 2 individuals. They are behind bars now. We will seek pretrial detention. We will seek the maximum penalties, because these are the types of people that prey on vulnerable individuals in our communities. These are the people that need to be behind bars. And I am so grateful for our prosecutors. This will be a multi-jurisdictional case.
Usually
and I know
is.
they, along with the hardworking men and women of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office and other agencies, will do everything in their power to make sure they remain behind bars. I plead with community members to again educate yourselves on recognizing the signs of human trafficking. You can go to youcanstopht.com. It contains information on how you can participate in helping us in this mission to eradicate human trafficking from Florida. We also just launched last week a human trafficking summit, which is still online. You can go to humantraffickingsummit.com to register. Thankfully, these victims had alert, aggressive investigators that, after receiving the phone call, immediately sprang into action And the defendants are now behind bars, and they were behind bars within days.
Did you guys happen to catch the debate with Charlie Crist and Governor Ron DeSantis last night? It got pretty heated.
But this work is not over. There are other victims right now in our communities that will need to be rescued. And we need the community's help in making that happen. So we appreciate you being here to not only recognize today's announcement, this important work, but in helping us get the word out to the community that it is not over. The surge is still in effect. We will still see vulnerable women and children preyed upon. And the only way traffickers get put behind bars is for everyone to participate in the eradication of this heinous crime. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, General Moody. I was a little remiss in my duties in making a few introductions. Nick Cox and Rita Peters with the statewide prosecutor's office, and one of our heroes, Misty LaPerriere with Selah Freedom, joining the Attorney General and myself. What questions can we answer?
Sheriff, do you know how long the 8 women were in the U.S.?
How long were they in the U.S.?
Still processing a bunch of documentation. We wanted to get this story out. We wanted to get it out quickly, hoping that some of the other victims would have the fortitude to contact somebody, to make that emergency call for help. But we're still working through a lot of details. We're working now to track down the money, to find out exactly where the profit was going, where the money was going. Why were they paying $60,000 to come across when we know that most wolves are charging $7,000? Why were they being so intimidating by fear of violence? This was quite an organized crime ring. How they would fly them from Cuba to Mexico, and then bring them over one way or the other across the border. They were told to make contact with a Border Patrol agent, where they were given a notice to appear a few years from now. And then some of them were given bus tickets to come here, and some of them were given plane rides to get here. And when they got here, they were greeting them with balloons. Welcome home. Welcome to Tampa. So they had pictures and photos that they would send back to their families in Cuba to let them know that they arrived in the United States. There's no doubt in my mind that they were also using that as props to encourage other young women to come over here and enjoy this good life and enjoy the United States here too. So quite a comprehensive and organized crime ring. But again, a lot of this investigation will still continue. We know that they were operating in adult nightclubs here in Pinellas County. You know, were those owners made aware of it? I'd have a hard time believing how they weren't made aware when they were undocumented, and we know it's against the law to hire an undocumented person as gainful employment. How were they being employed? So, but what level of involvement, were they helping drive this sex trade? There's no doubt that they were. To what degree? We still have to figure a lot of this out. To answer your question, just a lot to figure out. That'll be the second phase of this ongoing investigation.
Do you think there are any more, aside from the 8 women that we rescued, do you think there are any more victims connected to this case?
Do they think there's any more victims connected to them?
We do not with this case, but we do believe, we've all heard about some of the Cuban crime rings, with some of the theft rings. We know that they're involved in some stolen cars. Matter of fact, part of this second phase, and there'll be additional charges, is one of the traffickers, the female, was driving a car. That's a stolen car that was re-vended out of Miami. So we've seen that. We're just recently starting to learn now that this Cuban crime ring is now involved in trafficking these young women. So we'll continue to work through that.
And all 8 women who were rescued in this case are from Cuba?
Are from Cuba, yeah. And like I said, we believe there might be some other Cuban organizations that are loosely affiliated. We believe the women don't know each other, the traffickers do. Again, this human trafficking unit that we have here, working with the statewide prosecutor's office, there's no doubt that they'll get to the bottom of it.
And what will happen to the women now? Will they be deported, or what's going to happen?
What will happen to the women now?
We're working with Homeland Security investigations. The federal government has the ultimate decision-making ability. An immigration attorney has come talk to them. Again, working closely with Selah Freedom to get them some type of temporary asylum and complete paperwork if they choose to remain residents here. That'll be part of the federal government will make that determination.
Any other questions?
And I understand that the women were under the impression that, or they paid to considered victims, in this case?
Yeah,
They paid to come?
Yeah, they're considered victims not because they paid to come here. They were considered victims because they were forced into the sex trade to repay that debt. They had no other options to make payments any other way, and they were forced that you can't leave here. They were held hostage. Like I said, this was a modern day slavery is what this was. You're going to work until you pay your debt. You're not going to have any communication with your family without us monitoring it. And they would keep their money. I mean, they were charging them for everything. They were keeping very little money they derived from the actual sex act because it was gone to food, rent, the cell phone that they charged them, that they mandated that they had, and the fuel and gas to even drive them to the dates that the traffickers set up. So they didn't get to keep very much money.
Gross.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
He didn't like that question, asking why they were victims, did he? He got defensive. I need to go back and I need to clip Cuber. Does anybody remember how, or was it before this lady came out? Because I wanted to clip that.
Firstly, to identify and arrest traffickers.
I guess I can do that after. Let's keep it moving. Making note to self. But scary stuff. So here I thought they were from Cuba, and I thought they were like being, coming over to Florida in a boat, because that's what they used to do. They used to come in boats. But now they're going and flying them to Mexico and then just coming over the border. How nice. Hey, Leo girl. Hey, Allie and Haley V. What's up, girls? So it looks like, at least they have resources for these women that they save. So these girls were between 18 and 24. Haley V, thank you so much for your super sticker. She says, I hope everyone is having a fab day.
JB,
I hope you're having a
it's,
fab day as well,
you have to
Haley
stand
V.
down.
Thank you. Yeah, so they're flying them to Mexico and then just, boop, coming on over. Scary stuff. Oh, thank you, Potatoes. Potato said she's going to get it. I need that. Cuber. Whoops. All right, let's move on to Leilani and Billie Joe. First off, I'm just going to play this straight up through, and then I'm going to do typical J fashion. I'm going to slow it down because I want to look at the body language with you guys. I know, JB. It's all right. It's all right. Okay.
Roberta.
Here we go.
I'm here. I've been here every day since this. I am not running and I'm not hiding. And if something does come up that I am at fault, I will take myself to that police station.
Chatham County Police have repeatedly said that though they've named Leilani the prime suspect in her son's disappearance and death, they don't believe she's a flight risk. Leilani says that she and her mother, Billie Howell, spend their days in the backyard of their home because it's too difficult to be inside with reminders of Quinton and the fact that he's gone.
Every day that goes by is less tears and more anger, not knowing what's happening, if that's even understandable. You wake up every day angry, hoping that you're going to get a phone call, and that phone call just doesn't come.
CCPD and the FBI haven't released many details in the case and haven't said why they believe Quinton is in a landfill. Police say they're doing that to preserve any potential court cases down the line. Leilani and Billie tell me that they get their new information about the case from watching the news and that they feel all they can do now is hope.
We want something great to come out of this, but mostly we want him not to be found in that landfill. We want him found happy and alive. We want him back in our arms, holding us. That's what we want. We're just hoping that he's in somebody's house and they're feeding him, and they are hoping that, you know, maybe they wanted a baby or couldn't have a baby. Maybe they thought they were his savior. But it's not. That's their best hopes at this point.
Chatham.
Okay. So one thing I noticed right off the bat is the lack of real tears, right? But let's watch the. Okay, all I have to do right there is freaking freeze it right there. Caption this. I think Billie Joe knows exactly what happened, and she wants to pounce on that daughter of hers. That is the feeling I get from this. Is it possible that Billie Joe is trying to not protect her, but more so implicate her? Do you guys think that's possible? I agree they're both fake. They're both trash. They're both sorry excuses. But yeah, what is this? He's holding us. Like, what? He's 20 months old. Why would he hold you and console you? Okay, so I've got a few updates on this that wasn't in the released interview. So here is what Leilani says. It makes it hard to even process what's going on around us. We get to the point where we have to barricade our own home in order to even feel safe in our backyard, because we can't even process what is happening everywhere else or even have the time to do so. I can't even walk out and appreciate my own son's memorial or put down gifts that I got for him. I can't even go out there and do that without harassment and negligence and everything. What is she talking about? It's just devastating to see that this is how the outside world reacts, Leilani Simon said. Leilani said that they put up security cameras around the home as well as floodlights, and that they've had to move Quinton's memorial away from the street to keep unwanted attention away from it. Even with the attention since Quinton went missing, Leilani wants everyone to know that she's not running away. Leilani says that she and her mother, Billie, spend their days in the backyard of their home because it's too difficult to be inside with reminders of Quinton and the fact that he's gone. Every day that goes by, less tears and more anger, not knowing what's happening. That's even understandable. And what is she talking about? You wake up every day angry, hoping that you'll get a phone call, and that phone call just doesn't come. And then here's Billie. We want something great to come out of this.
What?
That's what we want. What? But mostly, we want him not to be found in that landfill. We want him to be found. And then Leilani cuts in, happy and alive. We want him back in our arms, holding us. That's what we want. Maybe maybe they thought they were his savior. What would they need to save him from, Leilani? And still the police say they have no reason to believe that Quinton was abducted or kidnapped. My question is, what does Danny know? It's quite the timeline there. 2 days on it. What does Danny know? Because everything I'm reading is still saying that he was the last one to see Quinton at 6 a.m. Oh, Billie Joe does not have my sympathy. Absolutely not. But do you guys think that it's possible she's working with LE? I don't know if I can even go there because I don't trust either one of them, because that Billie Joe left that little baby in the care of this monster. And let's not forget Billie Joe's original interview. I don't trust my daughter. She doesn't make the right decisions. I haven't forgotten that. And right there, she looks like she wants to pounce her. So we're going to mute it. And we're going to slow it down just a touch. And we're going to watch. And if you don't like doing this sort of thing, you're not on the right channel, because I like to analyze shit. I did this with Don and Candace too. But I mean, Leilani is 100% in save your ass mode. And I think this is the lip service she's always given her mother. Look at her mother's face. She's disgusted with this girl. Disgusted. I feel like she can hardly hold back. I feel like she can hardly hold back on her. All right, let's go forward a little bit. Poor baby. Now she's trying not to like cry. But I feel like she is disgusted with her daughter. Because I do think that in her own sick way, she loved Quinton. Look at Leilani's just lip servicing it over there. Look at her. She doesn't stop. And this is probably how she's always gotten herself out of trouble. Is her stupid acts. But we could see right through that. And look at her. She's almost smiling. I don't like her at all. Did you guys see that? This bitch wants to smile. I think she likes the freaking attention. Watch this close up. Let's go to our knob TV. Watch Leilani while her mom's talking. Her mom is talking about how devastated she wants him to be found. Look at her. And her mouth never stops moving. Look, Billie Joe can hardly stand it. She can't even look at her no more. She does kind of resemble Sammy a little bit. Oh, I can't either. I just want to take her mouth and stretch it like Play-Doh or like silly putty. That is terrible, is it not? Wow. That girl, Leilani. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And her mom knows her MO. Her mom has seen this song and dance a lot, I'm sure. I can't with her. She keeps shrugging. See her shoulders? Mm-mm. And her mom's not looking at her. So watch. Oh, boy. Lots going on there, huh? And this chick is not buying it either. She's not buying it. You know what? You're right. They never said his name. Please, Allie, pop her in the mouth, because her mouth bothers me because it never stops moving. her mouth is quite punchable. So they're spending their days in the backyard because it's too hard to be inside with reminders of Quinton. So now we have a Daily Mail article that came out where they talked to Quinton's biological father.
She said, we came home, we planted flowers on the side of the house.
So let's look at the Daily Mail.
These women who fled the repressive government of Cuba.
Potato got Cuber. Good job, Potato. Cuber. Okay, Daily Mail. Here we go. Daily Mail always gets the tea, don't they? Exclusive. She told police, I took him overnight. Quinton Simon's father reveals the Georgia toddler's prime suspect tried to pin the disappearance on him. But he says he hasn't seen his son in months. And this is Henry Bubba Moss. So according to the Daily Mail and to Bubba, I'm just going to call him Bubba. She tried to pin it on Bubba. So it says Leilani Simon told police that her ex-lover snatched the toddler from her Savannah home in the darkness of night, prompting police to track down and confront Quinton's long-absent father shortly after she reported him missing on October 5th. So Leilani lied, said, hey, Bubba took him. So she wasted their time initially, and they're 85 miles away from Savannah interviewing Bubba. And who wants this sweatshirt? Sometimes I stay inside because it's just too people-y out there. Okay, so the shaggy-haired 24-year-old said Leilani tried to blame it on me. He said he was mowing his boss's lawn when police pulled up. They asked, did I have him? And when was the last time I was in Savannah? Leilani told me Leilani said came and got him overnight. Bubba, who lives in Girard, Georgia, a rural town of 250 people, told police he hasn't been anywhere near Savannah for a month when he installed an air conditioner in nearby Tybee Island. And ironically, that's where Leilani and Billie Joe were downing tequila shots in a bar a week after Quinton disappeared. And there's Leilani and her punchable face. And there is Bubba. Let's look at the photo gallery. So there's Bubba. Bubba. Leilani and her punchable face. Cute little Quinton. Another very, very punchable photo of Leilani. Very punchable, might I add.
The devil is dancing tonight.
And then there's another one of Quinton's dad. And then that's the babysitter. And there's little Quinton again. And then there's the bar they were downing shots at, stingrays. And there's Grandma and Quinton. And there's the lovely landfill where police believe Quinton is. Somewhere. I just found a story in Detroit, actually, where a teenager went missing. And it was just earlier this year she went missing, and they searched for her for 6 months. And they had like surveillance, the same thing, that they thought the person that murdered her put her in this dumpster or whatever. Same thing. They tracked it to the same, area where it would have been dumped and all that. 6 months, and they never found her. So it's like so sad. They may not they may not find him. I mean, there's a possibility that they won't find him in there. And I think that Leilani is just hanging on to that hope. I don't know. That's why I have a hard time having sympathy for her. But maybe she's doing that to show LE like what she's doing, because the media got notified too. So the media was there. It was all over the news, and usually the news doesn't report. Well, I guess they do. In Don Wells' case, they reported when he got arrested for drunk driving. Yeah, she's very punchable. What do you guys see in her? She's probably easy. I mean, let's face it. They're young. She's easy. She's a hoe. She's a hoe.
If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck,
It's a duck, right? Let's keep going. Oh, look at that baby. Probably just out of the bath with his little hair combed, looking like a little man. So Bubba said he was always happy and always smiling. He didn't scream a lot. He was a good baby. Well, Bubba hasn't seen him in months, so I don't have a whole lot of respect for Bubba either. So Bubba vowed that he told police the truth, that he was home when Quinton disappeared, and that he left for work at 7:40 that morning. He said he presented alibis, and there was also CCTV footage from the next door gas station proving he didn't leave his home overnight. At that time, it was just a missing persons case. He says, I told police she's going to hurt that baby. I said I didn't know what was going on. Hell, I haven't heard from her in 6 to 7 months. God, these people just have babies and just ignore them, you know? This guy, if he was responsible, could have saved this kid's life. Meanwhile, grandma's got custody and leaving the kids with Leilani. Bubba, who has 2 daughters with another woman, oh, that's great, said he met Leilani at a swimming hole in 2019. And Leilani had her own child, Zane. They started dating and she became pregnant with Quinton in 2020. She initially kept it a secret. She didn't tell me until months later that she was pregnant. I didn't have no say in it, really. He said Leilani went to Alabama to give birth to Quinton in January of 21. So Bubba's name wasn't on the original birth certificate. She then returned home. Why would she have to leave the state to not put Bubba on the birth certificate? Why does that matter? Why couldn't... I don't get it. If she just says, I don't know who the dad is. He was happy, always smiling. He really didn't scream a lot. He was a good baby. That's all this guy has to say about his toddler son. He said the tipping point in the relationship came in February of 21 after he was served with an arrest warrant for breaking into a trailer home back in June of 2020. Leilani had already been arrested for the crime committed in the mobile home park in nearby Waynesboro, where she was living with her mother, Billie Jo Howell. Leilani, however, blamed Bubba, of course. A police incident report obtained by Daily Mail states that Leilani allegedly cut her way through a screen window and stole $50 from a coin jar. The 40-year-old victim who owned the trailer called the cops. When asked who he, the victim, thought was responsible, he pointed out a female, later identified as Leilani Marie Simon, who lives next door and was currently standing outside. I then spoke with Miss Simon, and while doing so, she admitted to entering the camper and taking all the change from inside the coin jar. Miss Simon added that her child's father, Henry Bubba Moss, came over at approximately 8 a.m. and convinced her to help him enter the camper. Miss Simon stated that since he couldn't fit through the window, she did instead. Leilani was charged with first-degree burglary, a felony. It was pled down to criminal trespass, and she was given 12 months probation. She is still on probation, and another period for a 2021 theft in North Carolina. She's a thief. She's a druggie. She's a horrible human being and parent. And he did nothing to help. But at least he didn't kill him. A warrant was issued for Bubba's arrest in that case, but he said he didn't know it at the time. Later that summer, a woman in another trailer there had a black and white Harley Davidson wallet stolen. The owner confronted Leilani, who blamed Bubba again. Miss Simon stated Mr. Henry Ross had stolen it, but the report points out that the victim didn't witness the theft and no arrest was made. The property owner told Daily Mail that he evicted Leilani and Billie Joe. Oh, so Billie Joe got evicted too? Oh my God, you guys. The property owner told DailyMail.com that he evicted Leilani and Billie Joe, who was working as a union worker at a nearby nuclear plant that summer. Leilani then moved in with Bubba in the nearby city of Hiltonia. These poor kids. But their relationship proved a disaster. Bubba described her as a cheater and a liar. A homemaker who spent her days snorting cocaine and smoking marijuana. She did cocaine every day, all day, as much as she could, he said. Leilani also exhibited a violent temper and would lash out at him when she was craving more drugs. When she didn't get no money from me to get fucking drugs, she'd go crazy, he said. She hit me a few times in the face. He said Leilani would also sleep with other men to get cash for drugs. Everything fell apart after he received the arrest warrant in mid-February 2021. He had his best friend Morgan record her, admitting she framed him. I'm saying, why did you do that, though? Bubba could be heard telling Leilani on the recording. That is fucked up. I can't believe it still. Huh? What, you going to tell them the fucking truth now or what? She says, yes, Bubba, I'm going to tell them the truth. I've already called up there. They have so many different fucking recorded messages when you call them. I'm going to tell the truth that you didn't do anything. And he says, I know, but damn, you shouldn't be lying and everything else. That we be together and everything else. And then he goes on to say, damn, man, you fucking up my life with this. I got locked up. I mean, it's fucking stupid. Why am I so mad? There should have never been no motherfucking charges, he argues. The 5-minute recording also shed light on other aspects of their relationship. At the time, Quinton was about 7 weeks old, and Bubba was still questioning whether he was the actual father. Poor baby. I'll keep the baby and take care of him and all, so he's mine. So if he's mine, we're going to get a DNA test, he said. If he's mine, I would want to put his mother fucking name right on his birth certificate and change his last name. He can live with me. I'll do that. Put him in motherfucking daycare. Whatever I've got to do. I'll take care of him. I promise you that. Oh. His promise didn't come true. And he says the only reason I'm not in Quinton's life is because she left. She was not welcome here anymore with all her lying and stealing. That's not an excuse. That baby has nothing to do with what she does. He still could have seen that baby. He then accuses her of sleeping with other men to suggest that maybe he's not the father. So this is still in that recording. I ain't fucked nobody but Bubba Moss in 2021, she insists. Though she'd become pregnant with Quinton the prior year. I ain't never fucked him either. That boy's a child. This is Leilani. After the argument, Bubba and Leilani split up. She left town later that year. Ugh. Bubba has experienced his own trouble with the law, admitting he'd previously been arrested for fighting criminal trespass and possession of marijuana. At the time of the disappearance, Leilani was living in Savannah with Quinton and Zane, her boyfriend Danny Youngkin. Now, where did Danny come from? She goes through the guys like people go through underwear. Okay, so then Bubba said cops from the local sheriff's office confronted him later that morning, and then he drove to Savannah and met with the FBI. They wanted to talk to me, he said. They were asking me a lot more questions about her. And then they had him take a DNA test, and it came back a match. So the next night, Bubba goes to Billie Joe's to speak with Leilani and her mother, and they were gathered in the backyard. To him, it seemed more like a party than a time of grief. He says every one of them was high as a kite and drunk as hell. Leilani was on something. She wasn't crying when I walked up. She was laughing and having a good time with everybody. It looked like a party. I didn't tell her what the FBI told me, he said. All I said was, how did Quinton go missing? How did a 20-month-old go walk out? She didn't have anything to say to me, he added. All she said was she was sorry and she didn't know what happened to him. That's all she does is lie. He said a few minutes later, after he spoke with her, she cried. And then authorities later drained the backyard pool, which was full when Bubba stopped by. Bubba said he is shocked that Leilani has not been arrested yet. I can't believe she ain't locked up now. She's a terrible person and she's going to jail or hell. She's evil. She shouldn't be out here in society. If she didn't want him, she could have told me, he added. I would have come and got him. Okay, well, I don't quite believe that because the baby was in probate court with grandma going for custody. So wouldn't he have known that there was the grandma getting custody of his child? That poor little Zane has been dragged around from household to household. Horrible. All right, you guys, get your votes in. We've got a few more minutes left. And it is down to Hope or Indy. Not down to. This is our first poll. Hope or Indy. Which one do you like better? The winner of this name poll will be going up against who again? Emmy. So whatever the winner is of this poll will go up against Emmy. And I have a going out video for you guys. You know, I always got to make you guys laugh. So if you missed last night, another little update. Brittany Griner's appeal denied by the Russian judge or whoever. But he did say, I'll trim your sentence. I'll give you time served on your 9-year sentence. So she's not going anywhere as of now. I haven't heard anything about any of the dealings with the, releasing the arms dealer and stuff. But I got two funnies real quick. Chris and DeSantis faced off last night in the first debate, or the only debate in the state of Florida. And Governor DeSantis made quite a funny comment at one point. So hold on, let's unmute. And they threw slams all night, like back and forth. It's on YouTube if you want to watch the whole thing in its entirety. It's pretty interesting. Florida's a pretty crazy state right now with everything going on. We have been through COVID. It was very controversial, We weren't on lockdown as long as everyone. And what I noticed is that Charlie Crist just kept using the abortion policy against DeSantis. And there was a bunch of people in the crowd that would cheer whenever he talked about abortion, but he really never had anything substantial. He's just trying to win based on that one issue alone. But let's take a look at what DeSantis had to say, because Chris kept bringing up everything that DeSantis says about Biden. So here you go.
Listen, I know that Charlie's interested in talking about 2024 and Joe Biden, but I just want to make things very, very clear. The only worn out old donkey I'm looking to put out to pasture is Charlie Crist.
and he's all straight faced. Oh shit. Okay, here's one more. And this is where Charlie Crist gets cut off by the host, this reporter or news anchor that was hosting this. They each went 60 seconds, and then they each got a rebuttal of 30 seconds, and then Chris wanted to go again.
To Charlie and his special
Governor,
interest
that's time.
buddies.
We're going to move on now.
That, please.
No, you already had your 30 seconds. We're going to move on.
What?
I've got to be fair. You each got 60, you each got 30.
We're the only state in America.
No, I'm sorry. We're going to move on to public health.
Vaccines for
Moving
children.
on to public health.
Wait, watch
I'm
her
sorry,
face.
Congressman. Public.
Watch this again.
To Charlie and his special
Governor,
interest
that's time.
buddies.
We're going to move on now.
That, please.
No, you already had your 30 seconds. We're going to move on.
What?
I've got to be fair.
like, what?
You each got 60, you each got
We're
30.
the only state in America.
No,
under
I'm
his
sorry. We're going to
leadership
move
that
on to
didn't
public
order
health.
Vaccines for
Moving
children.
on to public health. I'm sorry, Congressman. Public.
To Charlie.
I'm sorry, Congressman. Oh, man. It's never a dull moment in politics. You know what? It never is. All right, we're going to end our kitty poll. Let's see what our results are. Oh, my gosh. So we're eliminating our first kitty name. Hold on. Let's turn this off. Woo! All right. Here we go. The old worn out donkey. How come it didn't end? Did it end for you guys? Oh, here we go. All right, now it's going to end. Okay, 57%. Hope wins. They're both so cute. I loved Indy as well, but Hope wins. So our next live stream is going to be Hope versus Emmy. And then the winner of that will go against Linksy. So we've got Hope versus Emmy for the next live stream. Hope it is. So I'm going to confuse her. I'm just going to start calling her Hope. And then I'll keep changing it as we go. No, I'm just kidding. She's very sweet, you guys. She's really warming up. She's very loving and very much about me and follows me. But I'm having a hard time introducing her to the dogs because Summer wants to chase her. So she's preferring to come in for a little bit, be held, and then go outside. But I will post some more pictures in the community of her. She got her own little dish set and stuff. And I did update the Amazon wish list with things for her. If you guys want to get the kitty anything and have it sent directly to her, I will unbox them. And of course, you know, the doggies always love treats and stuff. So thank you very much, you guys, for participating and helping me name this kitty. I think it's going to be really cool. And then we'll have a kitty cam and you guys can watch her grow up. So with that being said, dance it out, you old worn out donkeys. I'll see you later.
I don't give a damn. I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. Time for that. Staying up late, sleeping all day, dreaming about Cadillacs. Buying new shoes, hanging by the pool, sipping on cold.
Put you behind bars at the Morsino Motel.
When you feel alone, but I'll never call you back.
In my room, if you were growing on my ass.